Rebel without a chill. Rebel and chill. Can you believe we've done 13 of these things? It's been interesting going back in time, watching your life unfold in so many different ways. The good, the bad, the ugly, sometimes very stressful, sometimes a lot of fun, sometimes it's all just a blur. But it's been amazing to see how everyone on that side, where you are, engaging with it. It all culminates to this very minute, this moment in time, season finale of season 1. I wish I had like a This Is Us commercial on the last episode of season 1. I want a truck! I need sandwiches on the grill at all times! It's just like this really sad song. Anyways, okay, well, apparently this is not us. It actually took a while to shoot the last episode because we weren't really sure. I remember everyone wasn't sure, like, how does the season end? It was kind of around the 1-year anniversary of the company, and we were like, you know what, that's kind of a nice little conclusion. Then we decided to start looking at restaurants as well. And anyways, no spoilers. No spoilers. Shall we? Play.
I'm terrified of the financial part of it. Tonight is
Still am.
I make a spaghetti and meatball sandwich.
Which we've yet to see. Toronto, downtown, Kensington, knick-knack shops.
I'm about to go to the rock and roll venue.
So El Macambo, this was actually really cool. So widely considered the #1 kind of like underground rock venue in the city of Toronto. Like claim to fame is the Rolling Stones played there in the late 60s, early 70s. Pre-fame. Well, I think the Ramones had played there. Like everyone had gone through, and then it just kind of got like a little bit more dilapidated and falling apart and then neglected. And then these two individuals that you'll meet shortly, they bought the venue with the intent of bringing it back to life. And I thought it was so cool that we were gonna have like one of the first events out of that space in the newly revived El Macambo. And I think they sold it again shortly thereafter. But anyway.
Sounds like we can handle that. No, it's revolution.
They look like they're gonna murder me on that side of the bar. I literally look like I'm asking for a loan and they're about to murder me. Look how big they are, man. I never notice how small I am until I'm next to large people. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I mean, like I've always aligned myself with like the Michael J. Foxes of the of the world, just because like I'm like, yeah, you go, little guy.
This is zoned for restaurants.
So. Zoned for restaurant use is incredibly important because not every property that you look at will actually allow you to put a restaurant there. There's a lot of reasons why different cities have these zoning restrictions. The #1 thing is chances are if it wasn't a restaurant, you're gonna have to put a lot of money and work into it. And not every building is meant to be ripped apart like that. Like putting the exhaust system alone is a huge job.
In 1880, that was a beef smoker.
How cool is that? Imagine, I was totally expecting someone to be like, hello, come out of that smoker. Hello, little boy. Welcome to the basement.
A lot of work had to be done. It needed a complete build out. I love
The floor was slanted downwards too. It drove me nuts. And like this agent, he refused to like acknowledge that the floor was slanted. I'm like, no guys, like look, we're sliding down.
What's at that second space?
So I fell in love. I actually wasn't excited about the thought of opening up another chapter until I saw this place. And even though, like our second place, and even though we didn't end up going this way, it was just cool because this second space was zoned more for, I think, the events and catering side of the business. And it was also, it was federally inspected. So if we did want to start jarring sauces and packaged meats, we could actually sell it throughout the country and we'd be fine because it was already approved for that kind of distribution. Anyways, it just started getting my head thinking about like where the company could go, and I got super excited. In fact, all the directors were like, you gotta like tone down your excitement because the real estate agents are having a field day with you right now. Okay. This is gonna be tough to watch. Only because I can't believe how much time's gone by.
The cool space that
Wow. That's the restaurant like 6 years ago. Look how much wood he has. There's a lot of fucking wood in there.
As you can see, it's pretty massive.
Wow.
We have 20-foot hoods.
Not much of this has changed.
And then the massive production kitchen.
That kitchen has more equipment. Except that buffalo chopper. Do you remember that buffalo chopper? This space that we're looking at now is our current space, Lisa Marie. It was an old school Czech deli, and they had all these really old kitchen gadgets that you would never see in a restaurant anymore. And one of them was a buffalo chopper from like the 70s. And a buffalo chopper is meant to take pieces of meat and mince it so fine that you can make like Polish sausages out of it. The funny thing is, it's like, it was this massive cast iron bowl, like it was like this big, and it just had this open blade in it, and anyone could have been just stuck their hand in it and lobbed an arm off. So I remember the first thing when we saw it, we were like, we have no need for this thing. And it was like the first thing we sold when we moved in. Cut the power on this, someone's gonna die. Terrifying.
Can do a lot of stuff.
There's a lot to work with here.
In the last 5 years, I think I've probably smoked, and I'm not even exaggerating, if I said 100,000 pounds of meat in that smoker, would that seem like an odd? I don't think that's that far off. Let's do the math really quickly. No, we got a little calculator. So let's assume any given week we'll smoke between 1,000 to 1,500 pounds of meat in that smoker. Well, let's call it 1,000 for argument's sake. 1,000 times 52, oh Jesus, times 5. Oh my God, that's so much. Approximately 260,000 pounds of meat have been smoked in that smoker. 260,000 pounds of meat. And it cost us $900 to repair. That's fucked up.
I have no idea if people are actually gonna come to this. Like, I just don't wanna look stupid.
So took over the El Macambo, and I invited 3 or 4 other food vendors, and there was a tequila vendor, and I had a DJ coming out. And it was like the first week of November, and I was like, don't know if anyone's gonna show up to this thing. And it was very similar to our first ever pop-up, where I was just like, I'm gonna put it out in the world and see what happens. And I actually didn't realize how busy it was until I watched the episode. It was kind of mental.
My kitchen's on my space.
Hence, Rebel without a kitchen.
Cheeses in the sauce.
I love macaroni and cheese. So crazy. And then Kai, and then she.
Ideology of being kind of my own way. I think a lot of
Kai got this cake for me.
it's all cement.
Had a sandwich on it.
People are having fun, man. I love it. I love it.
She sells Power now. The woman that made that cake. She sells like Hydro. A lot of amazing people that were there, like right from the beginning, which was pretty awesome. It's kind of hard going back and.
Last night was pure insanity. Macambo was rocking.
And then it gets even weirder right now. So I'm emotional right now because I'm watching like the end of that first chapter, and then a bunch of time went by before the scene, like actual physical time went by. So we'd actually put an offer in on the restaurant, and we didn't get it because someone went over us, and we didn't have the money to counter. So we were out. No, it would have been like late December that this happened. And then in early January of that year, my grandfather passed away. I was almost ready to just kind of stop doing what we were doing. Like, we ended on a high note. It's great. And then a day after his funeral, we got a call saying that the first offer fell through, and that if we still wanted the place, it was ours. So anyways, super emotional here because it's about a week after my grandfather passed away. And I remember how worried I was about going into this venture without having my #1 fan in my court. And obviously I wasn't allowed to talk about it on camera there, but I'm going to talk about it right now because those are the emotions that were coming through my face on camera. My grandfather taught me everything about life, and this whole company was kind of like a tribute to him almost. So I lost my shit.
One year, I've been this nervous in my life.
Yeah, I was fucking terrified because
This next chapter, but
totally different day. Because I'm like incredibly like I had been essentially crying for 3 straight weeks. And then we thought, hey, let's put a camera in front of him. Let's see how this goes. Not well. No matter how hard you plan for things, the plans essentially don't really mean anything because life will just take you in a new direction. The irony is, because we went right into opening up the restaurant, I never gave myself a chance to like properly grieve my grandfather when he died. So it was it's hard to watch this episode in particular because it just reminds me of all those things. The best part is too, usually when people take over a space, they already have like plans for design. We didn't start planning the design until we had the space. So we were just like, we did everything wrong, but it worked, but it wasn't me. That was like 6 years ago. Fuck, man, time flies, you know? But yay, on to the next, folks, as they say. It wasn't me. So season 2 is a drastic departure from season 1. Because we were like, well shit, we did a lot of stuff in season 1. Like there's no way we can do this as a company again, like have this many milestones in 1 year. How do we continue to reinvent this like Rebel Without a Kitchen moniker? And it just made sense to now travel to different cities and do these pop-up. Had a blast doing it. Got to see so many great cities that I'd always wanted to travel to. And dare I say, it was me? It was for me? It was for me. And in between season 1 and 2, I was part of this amazing CBC documentary called Chef in the City. It wasn't just about me, it was myself and a lot of other chefs in Toronto. But what was cool is it showed a lot of the making of the restaurant. So we're gonna put a little link for that doc right here. Boop, boop. So if you wanna watch kind of it's kind of like, you know, in between Star Wars episode, you know, Return of the Jedi and then Force Awakens. Everyone's like, what happens in between? This is kind of that opportunity. Anyways, folks, thanks so much for watching. Leave a like, please subscribe to the channel, maybe a comment, and if you want to watch Rebel Without a Kitchen, make sure to hop on over to Netflix. Yeehaw. Hoppy on Ovi. That was weird. Hoppy on Ovi? Who says that? In season 2. Hoppy on Ovi. That sounds odd. Okay.